Welcome to Velocity, the Vista Chamber podcast. I'm your host, Chamber CEO Rachel Beld, and it's my privilege to interview the movers, shakers, and change makers impacting our amazing Vista community and beyond. Today, Debbie Medrano from San Diego Balloons and More is here. San Diego Balloons and More is a proud woman-owned business. It's been spreading joy and smiles for over 16 years. They offer balloon decorating and delivery services 7 days a week for events like birthdays, graduations, and corporate gatherings. Debbie and her team love what they do and take pride in being actively involved in our community. As a member of the Vista Chamber and North County Women in Networking, Debbie's always looking for ways to give back. In 2013, Debbie founded Vista Teen Outreach to help provide food for teens in need in our community. When she's not bringing balloon magic to events, you'll find her on the pickleball court or out hiking with friends, soaking up San Diego's beautiful outdoors. As Debbie says, the party doesn't start until the balloons arrive. Welcome, Debbie. So glad to have you.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so it's so great. And I want to ask you first, before we dig into balloons, or float away with balloons, maybe, I want to ask, where'd you grow up? Are you from San Diego originally?
No, I grew up in Upland, California, which is off the 10 freeway. Mm-hmm. And we didn't come down to San Diego until 1996.
Okay.
My second son was 3 months old, and my husband took a job down here, and we ran with it. I just wanted to be in San Diego. I applied to San Diego State, and I got in. But my parents wouldn't let me come down there because it was a party school. Oh. So I've always wanted to come to San Diego. So when we had that opportunity, we grabbed it and have loved it ever since.
Have you been in Vista since 96 then?
Well, technically, we were in Oceanside.
Okay.
Shadow Ridge, Oceanside.
Yeah.
Which is just the worst that Shadow Ridge has an Oceanside part.
Okay.
I used to always tell people we live in Vista, but our address isn't Oceanside.
Got it. So you're Vista true and through.
Yeah. Kids did Vista Schools, Vista Sports, Vista Scouts.
Yeah.
But we had an Oceanside address.
Yeah. It's interesting how the map has that little kind of cutout right there in the Shadow Ridge area. It's like you're in Vista, you're in Oceanside, and then you're in Vista again.
And about 6 years ago, we bought a house on the north end of Vista.
Okay.
So we're not in Shadow Ridge because I always wanted to have a Vista address.
Yeah.
So now I have a Vista address.
Well, good. Congratulations on your Vista address. That's awesome. And that's great. So you moved here in 96 with your husband's job. And what did you were a mom, but what else did you do before you started your balloon business?
So I was always working when I was a mom. When my kids were in kindergarten, I got a job at Harrah's Casino.
Okay.
And it was before Harrah's was the big hotel that we know now. It was in a tent. It was called Rincon Casino. And I was the first, I was applying for a management job, and you had to have a college degree, which I have. And I was the first woman to be hired. I was the first person to be hired that had no casino experience, and the first person to be hired with no manager experience. And the gentleman that interviewed me said, because you're a mom, I know you can handle this job.
Yeah.
And I did, and I worked there for 3 years, and I saw the hotel open and the casino open. I went through that. So I was the manager in the slot machines. I was manager on duty like 3 nights a week. So I was in charge of the casino, slots, and the restaurants. And I absolutely love that job.
You probably saw everything doing that work.
I did.
It was so interesting.
It was interesting. I saw one person win $1 million jackpot twice in 3 years, the same person.
Wow.
She was a realtor in Valley Center. And I saw people spend their last dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was heartbreaking.
It was a fun, fast-paced business, and I loved it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, and I love that the person who hired you, said, well, you're a mom, you can handle this. That's so true.
It was true. And there were 7 managers, and I was one of the best managers and one of the few women of managers because I could multitask.
Yeah.
The men weren't great multitaskers.
Yeah, that's so funny and true. There's a meme that a friend sent me recently, and it was just like, take the world's biggest problems and just get a couple of really ticked off moms in a room and they're going to solve it, whatever it is. Yeah, absolutely. That's so true. That's so true. So then after working there, how did you transition into balloons? I'm so curious about this.
Well, after that job, I took a few other jobs. I ended up in the real estate and loans. And that ended when the mortgage industry
Exploded,
failed.
yeah.
So that was a mess. And so there was a gap. And my parents had a balloon company in Upland. And they had done that for, 20 some years at that time. They had been doing it then, had a store, closed the store. Then my mom learned balloon decorating. That was becoming a thing, doing balloons outside of a store. And so she took classes, she learned it. And so she kind of taught us. And when her jobs were real big, they would bring us up and help. And then the kids were at an age when they would help. And so it became a family thing. But we're here and they're there 100 miles away. So we didn't do it a lot. And one summer, we took my kids up. They were in Boy Scouts, and we took them up the San Bernardino Mountains to a Boy Scout camp. And then we went to go help my mom and dad with their job. And it was a bat mitzvah in, I don't know, West Covina somewhere. And at the end of it, when we drove home, I told my husband, I said, I think this is what I want to do next. And so all the way the drive home, I was like, do we want a retail store? Are we going to do it out of our home? What will it look like? And so we became Balloons and More then in 2009, I think it was.
Well, I'm curious, when you start a balloon business, is it a franchise where you have tips and tricks and a handbook on how to do everything? Or is this just something you said, I have a helium tank and some balloons, let's go?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
It's not a franchise. My mom had the business, so my mom taught me what she knew.
Yeah.
We pretty much knew it because we'd been working with them even before we moved when they had a retail store. So I learned it. And but I've gone over the years, I go to convention every year. I go to trade shows, I go to classes. I network with balloon designers across the country, internationally. So there's a very large network of supporters.
Yeah.
Everybody supports each other. Everyone shares their work. And so my business is completely different than my mom's. In that time period, she ended up doing it for 35 years.
Wow.
And in the last 10 years, it has changed drastically because we actually do more air work than we do helium work.
Okay. So what specifically has changed? Like the types of designs people want?
Well, yeah, because helium got very expensive.
Yeah.
So helium is helium bouquets.
Okay.
Air frame, poles and frames.
Sure. Like arches and
being built on a frame using air instead of helium which is heavy. So my mom and dad, as they were getting older, was a harder thing for them to do. Well, we could go and pop up a 30-foot arch, with no problem. So, and it became more profitable that way too.
Because helium is so expensive.
Right. So, and the structure lasts longer. So a helium arch will last barely 8 hours, and a framed structure could last, 3 or 4 days outside.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So just the market has changed. The supplies, the people doing, building better things.
Yeah.
And creating different designs.
What about the balloons themselves? Because I've heard in the past that balloons were not so great for the environment. Has there been any advancements with regard to that?
So that's Mylar balloons.
Okay.
So that's the foil balloons.
Okay.
That, isn't good. They're not good to be released. One of the things that we offer is a teardown service.
Okay.
So for most of our jobs, we will, you have to pay us to go back to do it, but we will go tear down the balloons, pop the balloons, and dispose of them correctly.
Okay.
It's the balloons that go out of a dollar store with no weight, given to a child, and then they let go in the air.
Right. That's the problem.
That's the problem. The problem isn't really the balloon. The balloon isn't really it's not great for the environment, but a balloon shouldn't be in
the ocean.
And it shouldn't be in the ocean.
Yeah.
So, but the latex balloons are biodegradable.
Oh, well, that's good.
So, but we go and we tear down everything. And so we, clean up after ourselves.
Well, that's helpful, one, from the environmental standpoint, but also just from an event planning standpoint. I've put on a lot of events, and the cleanup is always brutal.
It's the
brutal.
Worst. Yeah. Well, and we have to go back at 10, 11 o'clock at night and drive down to San Diego and
take things away.
That's brutal.
Yeah, that's brutal. Yeah. I know for Strawberry Festival, one of the things we implemented a few years ago was we actually hire a crew to come help us tear down our chamber booth and the beer garden and all of that, because all the volunteers and everyone, we've all been working.
Right. You've been there all day.
12, 13 hours, and we're pooped.
Right.
So it's like, I do not have the stamina within me to tear down a booth and put shirts away, and no way.
Right,
so we get a group to help us with that. So that's great to know that you offer that service. So I know your tagline is the party doesn't start until the balloons arrive, or the party doesn't begin or start.
The party doesn't start until the balloons arrive.
Party doesn't start till the balloons arrive. Where did that come from? It's so clever.
Actually, my mom came up with that.
What's your mom's name?
Carol.
She sounds adorable.
She is adorable. She's 83 years old.
Aw.
She just retired from doing balloons
Wow.
when she was 81. And really, I think the only reason she retired is because my dad passed away.
Yeah.
And so it made it harder for her to do things. But that was her tagline. And I stole it because it was the best. And we walk into a room. We were just in the Del Mar Fair convention room yesterday, and we're into this electronics show, and a bunch of guys around, we're carrying our big 30-foot arch in, and they're like, oh, the balloons are here, the party can start. I mean, people say that they say it without even seeing that that's our tagline. It's just a natural thing. So it was a perfect tagline she came up with.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's funny when you think about it. There are very few other icons that let you know that something fun is happening. Yes. Because a balloon is a celebratory thing. You don't see balloons at things really that are bummers, right? Well, it's usually fun.
It is fun, but we did a beautiful rainbow arch for a memorial.
Oh, yeah.
And it was several strands, and there was a tunnel. And the woman who the funeral was for loved rainbows.
Aww,
and so they called it a tunnel of love, and people walked through the tunnel of love before they went into the venue for the memorial. So it was a celebration event. But I try to tell people who don't want to spend money on balloons for their event that balloons change the emotion of your guests.
Yeah.
And people do not realize that, I try to tell them that you will get your money back, like in the auction event. You will get your money back with balloons in the room in your auction event, because you've already shown that this is going to be a fun, celebratory event, and people are in a good mood, and the balloons bring out joy in people.
I love that. So tell me a little bit. You mentioned this tunnel of love. What are some other types of things that people do with balloons that maybe if you wouldn't know? I mean, you can have like a helium bouquet.
Yeah, we do. We do helium balloon bouquets. We work for a international balloon company that sends us jobs.
Okay, kind of like FTD for flowers.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's like 1-800-Flowers. It's called balloonplanet.com.
Oh, okay.
And so when we get orders from around the country, and for people in San Diego. So we're the exclusive provider in San Diego.
Oh, that's great.
So we deliver from San Juan Capistrano, Menifee to the border. So that's our whole big area. And that's the 7 days a week. That's what we do 7 days a week. And those are birthday bouquets for get well, anniversary, welcome home, goodbye, congratulations, anniversary.
New baby.
Yeah. So, I mean, every occasion is a birthday balloon bouquet. Corporate orders for there too, and we get birthday columns for a conference. But for our balloon decorating, just Sunday on Easter, we delivered a baby stork.
Oh, cute.
A 6-foot tall baby stork. And we put it outside of the couple's condo. And when they came home from the hospital that day with their new baby, they saw the stork at their door.
That's so cute.
That their mom from Idaho had ordered.
That's so cute.
And it's adorable.
Yeah. And it lets them know that someone far away is sending you love.
Yeah. And it had it's a girl balloon attached to the stork's mouth, and which let their neighbors know that, their baby came.
Yeah.
So that was really special.
Cute.
Do a lot of events at the colleges. Graduation season. We right now are doing graduation for 17 schools.
Wow.
So graduation season is about 7 weeks for us. And we do graduations. I have 2 clients in Alta Loma where my mom those were the 2 clients residual from when she closed her business that we picked up.
Yeah.
Because we can do them both on the same day. And so it made it worth, going up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who, when you're saying we, who's your team? How many, do you have employees? How many people? Yeah. Okay. How many employees do you have?
So, as you know, Angel is now working for me.
Yes. That's your husband.
When COVID came about, we closed down in April, in March, things, everything got canceled.
Right.
But because I was connected to the balloon world community, we all learned how to pivot and learn from each other what to do to pivot. And so it was drive through everything.
Yeah.
And it was also going into graduation season in April, May. So it got so busy that I couldn't get anybody to come work for me. So my husband was going to retire in October, but I said, you need to retire now.
You're done.
He goes,
you're done, babe.
Are you sure? Are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I met with the financial planner. We crunched the numbers. And if I could hire someone, I could cover what that cost would have been. And it was going to cover him. And so he gave him a month's notice and has been with me. And we shake our head every day and can't believe it's been 6 years now that he's been working with me. I've been doing it for 16 years. And we never looked back.
That's so cool.
He's the muscle. He's the driver. He does a lot of the job teardowns. He does some of the driving deliveries the 7 days a week with another driver that we have who, between the 2 of them gets done in the 7 days a week. And then I have some high school kids that, oddly enough, the 2 girls that I hired, their mom met me at Vista Teen Outreach food bagging session. And she goes, didn't you own a business in Upland? And I said, yes, I did, a balloon business. She goes, I used to work for you. So their mom used to work for me. And I had a little retail store in Upland before we moved. Yeah. And it had balloons and it was a UPS store, like a Hallmark store.
Yeah.
And
what a small world.
It was wild. No, I mean, most of my friends don't even know I had that store. It was just wild. So her 2 daughters have been working for me for 3 years. The second one, the one's in college right now. She's doing all my social media still. The other one is graduating this year, which is a super sad day for me. But she has now brought on 2 other girls from her high school. So they're working for me. So, and then I have 3 other helpers that are like my best friends. Yeah. And one of them, it does great work, and she's my replacement when I'm out of town. Yeah. On the weekends.
But actually assembling and putting them together.
Yeah. 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 Like my team can put everything together, but she can go out and do the installs. Mm-hmm. Like I can get things done before I leave. Yeah. But she can go and do the installations when we're out of town, when we go to Portland and see our kids. Yeah. So I have, probably about 5 to 6 people on call.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. All right. But real talk. How's it working with your husband every single day? I need to know. Because 24/7 togetherness, I don't know. I've been married a long time and I love my husband, but sometimes a little distance is nice. So gotta tell me.
It's a challenge. Yeah. It's a challenge. We've been married for we've been together 40 years. Okay. I don't know how long we've been married, but it's tough. And we are learning communication. Mm-hmm. And, his story would be completely different than my story.
Of course, but you're the guest here today, so I get to hear from you.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. But it's working. Yeah. I mean, he could go somewhere else and go do something else if he wanted, but he's got great working conditions, so he's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Getting out of your bedroom, walking out of your bedroom and then just getting right to work is pretty
I'm
nice.
The one who gets out of bed and goes and does balloons in my pajamas. Yeah. And a cup of coffee.
Because it's all in your garage, basically.
It still is. Yeah. During COVID, we were looking for a place to rent because things were just so crazy. The business volume was so much. But rent is just it's not affordable. And when I look at how, we'd have to spend $5,000 to $6,000 a month on a space. Mm-hmm. I would rather keep that in my pocket.
Yeah, makes sense. If it works and you can do it from your home.
Well, and we don't have kids at home.
You can manage the inventory. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have to park my car in the garage. We have a beautiful shop. We've painted the floors. It doesn't look like a garage. It looks like a beautiful balloon space. And we don't have kids at home. So when a job, flows into the living room, for the night, then it's, then it's gone the next day. My house is beautiful. We have a brand new house, and our friends, you wouldn't know that it's a balloon decorator's house because, we have company over all the time. So
you don't have balloons exploding into your living room.
I don't want to have to get dressed and go to work.
Yeah, that sounds pretty nice.
Yeah. I like running upstairs. My office is upstairs. I have a great view. It works, and we're content with staying now.
That's great. That's great. So, what do you think differentiates yourself, San Diego Balloons and More, from other folks who do balloons?
Well, one, we've been doing it for 16 years, so there's a lot of newbies in town. There's a lot of COVID babies, which are balloon people that have been around as long as I have. We call them the COVID babies. Everybody switched careers and learned on YouTube, and they mostly do free-flowing designs that don't require any framing, like we were talking about the framing on. They haven't made that kind of investment, so we can provide a larger scale jobs. We could do fill the convention center with 20 columns and 5 arches. I mean, most people don't have that kind of equipment. Most people don't even have a van. They have to rent U-Hauls and stuff. Right. So, I mean, we've rented our share of U-Hauls if a day gets too big. But we have a fleet. We have 2 cars with our logos on them. So we actually own 4 cars, but 2 are the working cars. Yeah. So we have a fleet, and that we could just provide more. We provide great service. I always answer the phone. A lot of balloon companies don't answer the phone. They just want you to order and pay online, and their way that they do it is very cumbersome. Yeah. And I get a lot of compliments about that.
So the customer service level is there. It's the hand holding and the answering of questions, and this could work, or, kind of problem solving.
Well, people will call and they'll ask for an arch, and they'll say, well, what's the event and where is it at? And I was like, that's not really what you need. They don't know what to call it. I've never done this before. So I can walk them through that and say, you don't really need that, or that's too much, or that's not going to look like enough.
Or there's options that you haven't considered, that you haven't seen. Because really, when it comes to a creative industry like balloon decorating, really, there's no limit on what people can come up with in their minds.
There isn't. And there's so many great ideas out, with social media, with Instagram, and how many birthday parties did we do? We're like, oh, we need an Instagram moment. I don't get that, but I know what they're looking for when they say that. They just need this really. I just had a corporate client last week say, I need an extreme backdrop. I need an Instagrammable shot. We're making a $2,400 photo backdrop. Okay.
Cool.
I can do that. I can do that.
Absolutely. If it helps people further the image or brand of their company, or adds to the celebration. Yeah, absolutely. It's all about supporting those other folks and making their impression too.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So what do you think is next in balloons? What do you think is the next big cool thing?
Well, the next big cool thing is something that we added this year is the marquee lights.
Oh.
So if you have, right now for graduation, it'll be marquee lights in 2025.
Right. The big, tall letters, numbers. Yeah.
4 foot tall.
Yeah.
We have letters and numbers. And that's been huge this year. I saw the demand last year. I didn't have it. I've sourced them from somewhere else, and now I can rent them out. And it's been huge. We're doing that. We've added some backdrops to our line. I just signed on with a wedding planner that, like the Knot.
Yeah.
This national.
Right.
Well, there's a wedding planner called Beloved Weddings in San Diego. She's doing the same thing that the Knot is doing, but she's doing it in San Diego specific. And we're going to be their exclusive balloon decorator for them.
That's awesome.
So that's going to be an interesting summer with weddings, because I'm not really in the wedding market, but they came to me. So I'm looking forward to that new relationship.
Yeah, that's great. How do you build your referral partners? How do you, if somebody's an entrepreneur and they're like, I don't know how to get referral partners, do you have any tips?
Treat your clients well the first time, and they'll come back. and they'll refer your friends. And we track where our business comes from, and 50% comes from referrals. Another 25% 50% comes back from repeat business. 25% is referrals, and then the rest is Google, and very fractionally is it Instagram and Facebook. So I think you just provide the best service the first time, and you just want your customers to keep coming back.
Yeah.
And so I have a very good system that reaches out to them, every 11 months to say, hey, do you want to do your event again? This is what we did last year. And, we rebook the business.
That's great. That's great. So what's the very best part of your work? What's your favorite thing about what you do?
Bringing my client's vision to light. We did a baby shower, and it was quite honestly the largest baby shower we've ever done. It was in Poway, and the mom was over the moon, excited that you heard my vision, you saw my vision, and this is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And to me, it was just an arch. It was just a garland on the canopy. It was just this decoration on the front. It was just all the regular elements that we always do, but all put together in the space of their party. It just brought her so much joy. That's special. That's what makes us. We did good.
Yeah, you did good. That's great.
Did good. And I always send pictures to my team, and they see it built. They built it, but they never know what it looks like where it's at.
Yeah.
And so it makes it a lot more special to say, good job, and always, giving them props because they built it.
Yeah. So do you have an online gallery on your website or on your Instagram? Okay.
Both.
So people can see and be inspired. Yeah. That's cool.
Both.
All right. So I asked you about the best part. What's the hardest part?
Hardest part is working with my husband.
Yeah.
He'll kill me if he ever saw that. It's the next 7 weeks are going to be tough. It's a lot of juggling.
Yeah.
I mean, I just spent 3 hours 2 nights ago placing an order for our graduation season from 3 different balloon vendors. So it's sourcing. Sourcing's getting a little bit difficult.
Is it impacted by things that are happening at the federal level?
No, not from that, and not really from the tariffs. But we lost our major balloon manufacturer, the one who's been around for 50 years. They just went out of business last year. So having to switch brands, switch colors a little bit. So that's kind of been a learning curve.
Yeah.
Just keeping up with all the details sometimes is the worst part.
Yeah. If you had to give any advice to someone who wants to start a business, whether it's balloons or anything else, what advice would you give to somebody who's just getting started as an entrepreneur?
Well, I think the best thing that I did was, I've been in business for 16 years. I was working in Farmers Insurance for 7 of those 16 years.
Oh.
And when I decided to go full time, I said, okay, now I'm going full time. Now this is a serious business. It's not a hobby anymore. And I read the book by Mike Michalowicz called Profit First. And that's how I run my business. And that has been super successful for me. So my advice would be to read that book and manage your money right from the get-go.
Okay, good. Well, that's a little bit of a segue because we're going to go into our rapid fire questions. I was just going to ask you for a book recommendation. So is that your book recommendation?
That would be it.
Yeah.
Profit First.
Yeah.
It just makes you put your money in the right places, hold your money, set aside your money for taxes and put that in a separate savings account until you got to pay your taxes and your owner's pay and your business expenses and your income. So I have 7 different bank accounts where all the money is sitting.
That's great. It kind of reminds me of in college advice I got from one of my college friends' dads who said, take envelopes and put cash in the envelope and start with your rent first and put cash in all the envelopes and keep it separate. Don't let it mix because then you might.
The Dave Ramsey method.
Is that what it is? Oh, okay. I think it might have been before Dave Ramsey because I'm old and I was in college a long time ago. But maybe
that's great advice for a college student.
Yeah. So it was helpful. Okay. So tell me a song that you love. What's your jam, Debbie?
Well, I love music, and I just, there's so many songs that I do love, but Friends in Low Places from Garth Brooks is the song that will get my husband out of the seat anywhere we are, in a restaurant, in a park, and in the kitchen, and we dance to it.
Oh, I love that.
So that is probably the nearest and dearest, because I love Elton John, but that song has a special meaning.
That's great. Okay. What inspires you?
I think, what I said about making my clients' vision come true, that just knowing that I did a great job and made them happy, I think that fills my heart.
That's great. Okay, last question. Tell me a Vista business that deserves a shout out, and why?
I am so pro Vista. I don't know. I was at Banana Dang this morning. I love their smoothies. Miko Sushi.
Those are all great.
The drive-through car wash. Like, I don't know.
Which drive-through car wash? Which one?
We have a new one on Santa Fe. Up by the AMPM.
Oh, yeah.
Magic Brush.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My car smells so good, and they don't even come inside my car. But the soap that they put on your car makes
permeate somehow.
Yeah, it comes inside my car, and it smells so good.
Well, that's nice. So you've got smoothies, sushi, and a clean car.
Yeah.
Sounds like a winning day.
Right. And the gym at Crunch.
Crunch Fitness?
Crunch Fitness.
Okay. Do you have a trainer that you work with there?
No, I go to the yoga classes and the strength training classes.
Nice.
Oh, Vista Pickleball Club.
And the Vista Pickleball Club. Okay. Yeah. So we've got lunch, we've got a smoothie, we've got a clean car, you've got a fit body, and some recreation too.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's more than one, but I'll allow it. That's great. Thank you. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you really wanted to mention today, that you really want people to know about your business or about you? Or about your amazing husband, Angel? He's a delight. He is a delight.
He is a delight. And he's at Lunch Mob probably talking me up right now. Yeah. So he's my biggest fan.
That's great.
And I love him dearly. It's just,
Yeah. 24/7.
And I tell him 24/7 is a lot. and I need a break. I'm going to go play pickleball.
Well, and he probably needs a break from you too, I know my husband needs a break from me, I'm sure. So.
No, I think we're good. Just look us up at sanDiegoBalloonsandMore.com, Instagram, Facebook, and our website.
Yeah. Thank you to my guest, Debbie Medrano of San Diego Balloons and More. And thank you for listening to Velocity. If you like what you heard, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and tell a friend. Help us move Vista forward with Velocity. The Vista Chamber of Commerce is a nonprofit organization that serves as a catalyst for business growth. Visit us online at vistachamber.org.